All right, Dev, we're going to end this episode 33 of the podcast, with the top 10 plus. It's going to be a few more than 10. Top 10 plus games for non-gamers. These are games that I've sometimes bought for like a mom or a friend for Christmas or birthday or something like that, that I feel like have gone over well with everyone I've taught them with, no matter if they really love games or are very intimidated by games and are very nervous to try a new one. So that is what this list is about. I think you've played probably half of these, so some of them I'll do most of the talking about, but any of the others that you have, pipe in and we'll just kind of tackle them together. All right, Devin, the way I thought about this was, I think there are different kinds of people, which is weird, but there are.
Diversity.
And in games, there are people that like different things. One of the first things I thought of was our grandma. She loved card games. And I think for people that love card games, I have quite a few that I think are great. We're going to start with people that love very simple card games. If you know somebody that loves Uno or something like that, I think this next set of games, or I guess first set of games, are all really good. The set is going to be Deducto, Push, and Flip 7. They are a bit different. Deducto is a deduction game where it plays in like 20 minutes, maybe even 15. You're going to have some cards in your hand. Half of them are going to be, or not half, sorry. One of them is going to be facing out, so you don't know what it is. And every card has a character on it, like it might be a pig or a pigeon or a duck. And then some disguise on them. It might be a wig or a mustache or a hat. And they'll be in some location. It might be at the beach or on the forest, at the forest or something. And then you're going to play the other cards that are facing you in your hand in order to try to deduce what your character facing out is. So if I play a card down, the other players will tell me yes or no to whether the card I played has something in common with those three variables on my suspect. And whoever can figure out what they are first is the winner. It's a very simple game. I think you could even play this with kids, probably up down to like age 8. I think it says 8+. Yeah, it does say 8+ on the box. That one's been a hit. Very simple to teach, 15 minutes. Push. I think you've played this one, Devin. Very simple. Push your luck card game. The cards even look like Uno, but it's a much, much better game than Uno. In this one, you're going to start flipping cards over, and they are different colors and different numbers, 1 to 5. And you can make up to 3 piles of cards. And if you ever draw the same number that you already have, you can't place it in the same column. So I'd have to put it in the next column. Same thing with colors. You can't have 2 cards of the same color in a column. So you're going to keep flipping cards until you're ready to stop and take one of the piles. And those cards you'll put in front of you and you'll get to score. Or you bust. If you ever draw a card and you can't place it because you already have that color in all 3 columns or that number in all 3 columns, then you bust and you don't get any cards. Just the next few players in turn order will get them. This one is excellent. Also gone over very well with everyone I've played it with. That's Push. It also has this cool die that you'll roll at certain points when you do bust. You have to roll the bust die, and it will sometimes wipe a color from your bench. So those points or those cards you've taken before are not necessarily locked in. You might lose them too. So a bit of push your luck. It's fun. And then next up is Flip 7. I've reboxed this one since it didn't fit in the promotional box they sent me. But in this game, you're going to basically, it's like 21. The dealer will say, do you want a card? They might not even say that. You basically say, hit me or I'm out for the round. And if they hit you with a card you already have in your display, then you bust and are out for the round. I like pressure luck games for little card games. There are numbers 1 to 12. And so you can end up racking up quite a few points on your turn. Like this, for example, would get me all of those cards in points, and I might want to stop at that point and just bank those points around. First person to get to 200 points wins. There are some special cards, like this one that adds 6, and there's one that makes it so you can freeze somebody else, basically kicking them out of the round. And so there's a little bit of like some weird crazy cards, a second chance card that if you would bust, you just remove this card and you're not out of the round. So some fun goodness in there. That one just barely came out, pretty new. Also been a really big hit with people that don't play games. My mom's parents, or excuse me, my wife's parents really enjoyed that one. So for people that love card games, simple card games, I think that is a good set of games. All right, you got the people that like word games. I was specifically thinking of Wordle here, Devin. Do you like a good Wordle?
Yeah. I enjoyed getting the Wordle first try. It's like,
Yeah, first try, all greens, exactly. Yep. I think Fiction is an awesome game for people that like Wordle, and you can play it in a big group. I think it says 2 to 8 plus players, and I think you can play with as many as you want. The shtick with this one is someone is the librarian, with the word lie in it, L-I-E, and you're trying to guess the word that they started with. But when the librarian is giving you those clues back on not in the word but in the wrong spot, or perfectly correct, they always give one lie. And I feel like Wordle is a kind of ubiquitous thing, so people grasp onto this concept really easily. We've played this with our family and family events, and I think it's gone over pretty well too. So for the word game enthusiast in your family, Fiction, pretty small little game that I think people that like word games will really, really enjoy. Really like that one. Did you enjoy that one, Devin, when we played it?
Yeah, I think I was kind of sitting out,
just watching.
But I watched you all play it, yes.
It's a little bit tricky, and you kind of have to change your mind from Wordle a little bit. Just you have to try to figure out which of those clues that they gave back to us is the lie, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of tough.
It is a little tough, but it adds a little wrinkle to Wordle, which I think is a fun wrinkle. Okay, Devin, what other kind of people you got? You got the people that love, I don't know, air hockey, darts, anything that's like a little like a dexterity game. Like what's another one? You got bowling. I don't know. Just thinking of stuff. The two games I would recommend for them, again, very simple and light and easy games to get into, are, let me grab them, they're kind of bigger boxes. First up is Drop It. This one reminds me of Plinko from The Price is Right for some reason. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You're dropping pieces into this contraption with a little slit in the top with the goal of getting as many points as you can. And the higher your piece rests, you get more points. If you land on one of these little bonus circles, you get bonus points. But if your piece ever stops on a piece of the same shape or the same color, then that piece won't score any points. Very fun, simple game. You could play it with, it says 8 and up. I've played this with our 5-year-old just fine. You're just dropping pieces in the top, but it's a little bit of luck in there, the way that they bounce around. But sometimes you can pull off a pretty crazy, like, oh, I got that to stick exactly where I wanted it to. Always been a hit. I don't think anyone has disliked that one. So let's Drop It. And then next up is a slightly bigger boy. Ugh. This is an excellent 2-player game called Clask. It just fits on the screen. Look how beautiful that is. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Jinx, you owe me a Clask. This one is basically air hockey, but much better. Better for a lot of reasons. It's much smaller. You don't need to plug it in. And it's only like $50 instead of $1,000. The cool thing about this game, well, there's a lot of cool things. You have this piece up top. You control it through a really strong magnet on the bottom of the table, which is really fun because your hand's not like in the way, or in air hockey, like getting crushed by the puck, you know. and then you're trying to make this yellow ball into your opponent's goal. But the one other wrinkle here, and it's the first one to get 6 points, wins. The one other wrinkle, I guess there's technically two, are if you ever accidentally put your own piece in your own goal, that's called a clask, and your opponent scores. So you got to keep your goalie far away enough from your own goal. And then the biggest and best twist in this game are the 3 white biscuits right here in the middle of the table. They're magnetic and basically want to stick to your piece. So you have to keep your piece away from them. If you ever get 2 of them stuck to your black pawn, then your opponent wins the point. And I think that's the most fun wrinkle in the game. You're constantly trying to not only score the yellow ball, but knock those biscuits into your opponent's puck. And you can do it pretty easily once you have practiced for 5 minutes. You can hit the yellow ball, have it hit a biscuit, launch it towards them. They have to hurry and move their puck out of the way. You can play this game in 5 minutes, and I think it's some of the best 5 minutes in a dexterity board game. Devin, you've played this one. Do you agree it's a fun time?
It is. There's a lot to think about. Mm-hmm. So many times I was like, oh, I'm going to block that ball from going in my goal. Little did I know I put my pawn right in my goal.
Yep.
Or you're just trying to send little white marshmallows at me.
Yep.
While shooting the ball. And I was like, I don't know if I should dodge that or block the ball.
Yeah, if you get those biscuits on your opponent's side, you can make it so that they almost have to avoid half of their field because there's 2 biscuits just sitting over there. Lots of fun. Very simple. Quite a bit of fun depth in there though. So I think Clask is excellent. They actually make a bigger one that's round and 4 players. I think
Wow.
I think there's 4 goals on that one. But I haven't played that one. 2-player version is excellent though. Also designed in Denmark. A little shout out to Denmark.
Go Denmark.
Okay, so those were the 2 recommendations for me for people that like dexterity games. Let's see, who is the next type of person? We've got I've got the person that likes card games again, but these are not as simple. So these are people that like card games like Rummy, or a little bit of a step up from your Unos.
Rummy?
Yeah,
Rummy Cube?
Rummy Cube is kind of based on Rummy. Rummy is where you're trying to get runs, I think, of cards.
Interesting.
Kind of like phase 10-ish.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I have 2 picks for this one. I think the simplest and easiest one, I think everyone should have this one in their board game collection. You can get it for $8, is No Thanks. This one looks like phase 10 cards a little bit, but the goal in this one isn't really to make runs. So I don't know why it's in this category, but here you go. This one will teach players bidding. You basically are bidding with these black little stones you have to not take cards. Eventually you're going to run out of those stones though, and those stones are worth -1 point each. So you want to keep as many as you can, because your goal in this game is to have the lowest score possible. And every card you take has a number on it, and you score that many points from it. So if the 33 comes out, nobody's going to want it. There's going to be a lot of stones left on it. So you're trying to pay attention to how many stones has Devin gotten rid of. Do I think his hand is almost empty? Because you keep them hidden in a closed hand. And it's sometimes there is a card that you don't mind having, because if I had the 32, then the 33 for me, since it's part of a run, even though that run is only 2 cards, is worth 0 points. So it's not bad for me. Since it's not bad for me, but I know it's bad for everyone else, I'm just going to keep putting stones on it and milk as many stones out of everybody else. So there's actually quite a bit of depth in No Thanks. It's excellent. Plays 3 to 7 players. Again, nobody has disliked this one. It has a bit more depth than you would think. Sometimes you get a lucky card draw and stuff like that, but man, super great. Love No Thanks. The other one I think I like a little bit better than No Thanks, but they're very different, is Scout. In Scout, you're given a hand of cards, and the cards have a number value on the top and on the bottom. I don't know if it shows it there on. Ooh, that's very small. I can maybe zoom in, but that might be a little tricky. Hey, look what I did.
Wow.
The cards have a different number and a different color on the top and bottom. And when you're given your hand of cards, you can't rearrange them. You have to decide at the beginning of the round if you're going to use your cards the way they are, or one time flip them over and use them for the upside down side. Then you're trying to make sets, kind of like phase 10. They can be a set or a run. And you have to beat the set or run that was last played in order to and if you beat it, then you get to take all the cards that were in it, and those cards are a point each. If somebody can't beat it, then you get a token for a point. Just one of the very best card games ever for a tiny little box that you can take everywhere. So you can see here, I think it was nominated for Game of the Year in 2022, and just excellent. They even sell that one at Target now in a little different shape of a box. Scout is super good. I bought that one for our mom, and actually played it with her, and I think she enjoyed it. Again, someone has played Phase 10 or kind of run-based games. I think No Thanks and Scout are like home runs. Just great. All right, Devin.
What else we got?
It's hard to know. I've got too many picks down here, maybe, but I think the next type of person is somebody that likes a party game. Like some examples of that might be, I mean, some of them are games I don't really enjoy, but what's that one? Cards Against Humanity. Mm-hmm. And other games like that are kind of like or code names, or like we're gonna have like a fun group experience together where we hopefully
apples to apples.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
This one's called, very pretty cover, Wavelength. Ooh. In Wavelength, you split into two different teams, and it's kind of like charades. Well, it's not, but in the fashion that one person gets up from that team and then will stand there with this board. And then they take a card, and the card will tell them something like, well, the card will have two things on it, saying that this dial, the left side of the dial, would be something quiet, a quiet place, and the right side of the dial would be a loud place. Then they have to spin this white kind of middle piece without looking at it, and it will show like where on that dial they want to get their team to guess. So then they try to give a clue that's like pointing there. So that would be something that's just a little bit more loud than the middle, right?
So like a coffee shop. No, that's probably quieter.
That might be a little quieter. What's like
the subway?
Okay, yeah, maybe. Or
the skate park.
Okay, skate park. Cool. There's this little blue cover that gets closed in front of that, so the rest of your team can't see that. And then they use this red dial to like crank it to where they think it is, and they can talk amongst the team. And then there's the fun moment where you reveal it, remove the blue dial, and wherever that red thing is pointing, if it's somewhere in the 2, 3, or 4 point section, then your team scores. And the first team to get to like 12 points or something wins. It's very fun because
super cool.
You can play with a huge group. Anyone that's like nervous about games they don't have to be the clue giver. They can just sit there and kind of help guess. So that one has gone over really well with big groups and family as well.
Yeah, it seems way fun. I've never played it, but I have seen some videos on this, and
yeah,
it seems cool. I was kind of curious about the mechanics, but now it's explained to me, and it seems fun.
Yeah, it's a good one. Very good if you play games in parties. So good one for the party gamer, or somebody that just likes like big family events. Okay, we got a few more. I think this is tough. We got the person that likes deduction. We already kind of went over Deducto, but that was a little simpler. And maybe solving escape rooms or something, like solving a puzzle together in a group. I got 2 games for that. First one is called Bomb Busters. This is a pretty new game this year. And in this one, you're trying to work together to defuse a bomb. And the way you do that is kind of a number puzzle. You know, think like Sudoku or something. Every player has this tray of wires, and you have to clip all the blue wires. You're going to put the wires in order, ascending order from lowest to highest. On your turn, you're going to point at one of your teammates' wires and say, is that one a 12? You'd probably point at the most right tile to do that. And if it is, then you both get to put your 12 down. Hooray, you snipped it correctly. If not, this dial ticks down, and if you ever get here, it explodes and you lose. Very, very fun cooperative game where you have to like use deduction and like numbers to figure out, okay, if he has a 12 was in his third most spot from the right, that means that the 2 next to it also have to be 12s because 12 is the highest number. So you're trying to give clues to your teammates. You can't talk to them about certain things. You can talk in this game, but there are like certain things in the rule books that tells you can't say. So very fun game. It also has 66 different missions in it. The first 7 are like introductory, and then number 8 is like the base game with the blue, yellow, and red wires. And then from there, you open these like surprise packs when you get to certain numbers, and they'll add new stuff, new stickers that go in the rule book, and it's fun.
It's kind of fun. The game's kind of like a video game. You've got a tutorial and a campaign and increasing difficulty and bosses and new content. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. You could play it for quite a while, 66 different times. And the time I played it took about 40 minutes. Maybe
for one mission?
Maybe 30. Yeah, for one. There's quite a bit of tension. Like people are get a little nervous about like clipping the wrong wires. You can use these like helper equipment cards so that you don't accidentally like mess up and stuff. And we were talking a little bit back and forth without revealing like too much. I like a cooperative deduction game. I think they're fun. Bomb Busters is great. If you want one in a smaller box that plays in a little bit shorter of a time and is also excellent, this is the Shipwreck Arcana. In this one player will be kind of the it player, I guess. They'll draw 2 tokens from a bag, and that the tokens will have numbers on them from 1 to 7. So you might have gotten the 3 and the 4. And then you have to place one of the tokens in front of one of these 4 cards, and those cards will change throughout the game. So the clues you can give will change as well. And for example, this card says you can only place a number here if the one left in your hand is an odd number. And so by where you place that 1 token, you're trying to give enough clues to your team so they can deduce what the token that's still in your hand, the value of it is. Very fun. That one, you have free reign to talk amongst the people that aren't the clue giver. So very, very fun. You can play this with almost an unlimited number of people. It is excellent. The variability of the cards make it pretty different from game to game. Really, really good. And this one fits in like a purse or anything. Mine's a little bit beat up, got a little water damage there, but man, what an awesome game. This is probably one of my very favorite cooperative games. Shipwreck Arcana and Bomb Busters for the person that likes numbers and deduction. Yeah.
Awesome. I've never played Shipwreck Arcana. I've heard you say the name.
Yeah, it's
many times.
It's pretty good. Really like it. Okay, we're almost to the end here. Next up, we've got the person that loves a puzzle. There are people
you
like,
do.
People like puzzles. I like puzzles in video games and puzzles in board games. I'm not a huge fan of jigsaw puzzles.
I
think they're okay. They're okay. They're just too long, right? Like if you want to do a 1,000-piece puzzle, that's like, depending on how many people you have doing it, you're sitting there for 4 hours or something.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
But for the person that likes puzzles, I think this is an excellent game. Pretty new, pretty popular. It's called Harmonies. And in this game, you are taking tokens from the central board, and you're trying to puzzle, hence the puzzle thing, puzzle out, where do I need to put these tokens in order to make the best patterns? Because I'm going to score for the different patterns in my habitat. Like I want a really long river, for example. I want tall trees and things like that. And then you also have to match the patterns on these animal cards in order to place an animal in your habitat, and they'll be shown by these little cool orange cubes. And once you take a card, you can actually put multiple animals of that type in your habitat if you meet that pattern more than one time. And the more of that animal you can get in your habitat, the more points you can earn from it. So it's like a puzzle on top of a puzzle. It's an awesome game. This game has basically replaced Azul for me, which is a very, very famous game, but I like this one a bit better. But it's very puzzly. It's not hard. I think you can play it in 20 to 30 minutes. But really, really good. I really enjoy this one. So that is Harmonies for your friend, neighbor, relative, mom, dad that likes the puzzles.
Amazing.
All right. We're almost done here, Devin. I think 3 more categories, I think, is all. Well, I mean, we're at 4. Next up is for the person in your life that loves more card games. But this time it's not simple card games. It's not like rummy-based card games. This is the person that loves trick-taking games.
Is that me?
Maybe.
Do I like deck building? Or wait.
That's a bit different.
Oh, okay.
Trick-taking are games like Hearts, or where you play down a card, and then the next person has to play a card of the same suit. And then if they play a card of a higher value of the same suit, then they'll take the trick. And in some trick-taking games, you want to take the trick, and some you don't, and some you have to bid on how many tricks you win. That's a whole genre that, again, like, I feel like lots of grandparents like really love. Very old genre. It's been around forever. And I think these two are excellent. First up is Cat in the Box. In this one, the shtick is every card in your hand is suitless. They're all black until you play them. When you play one, then you will put a little piece on the board to determine what suit it was. So it's kind of Schrodinger's cat here a little bit. Once you play a card, then you decide, I played a 3, but was it the red, the blue, the yellow, or the green 3? And using that system, you're trying to win a certain number of tricks, and you're also trying to make groupings of your little tokens, and you can score points that way. So it's a really cool and intriguing twist on trick taking where you're wanting to do both of those things: win the tricks and make groupings of your pieces. Really excellent. Very, very, very famous one from the last few years. The next one is brand new. Well, at least the reprint is. It's been around for a few years. It's called Yokai Septet. And in this one, I would say this one is slightly more advanced just because you play in teams. Primarily, it's a team of 2 and a team of 2. And this is the one where you are trying to win the 7s in the game. There's 7 suits. Each suit has a 7, but that 7 is in a different spot in the range of values for each suit. At the start of the round, you get to pass 3 cards to your teammate. They'll pass 3 back to you. And then between the two of you, you're trying to win the most of those 7 cards. So it's very good. Love it. And this new pocket version, man, tiny, tiny little box. So trick-taking games, Grandma might love Hearts or something like that. Cat in the Box and Yokai Septet are my 2 picks for that. Okay, Devin. We've got, you just mentioned deck building. Mm-hmm. I don't know who this kind of person would be. So this is a non-gamer, somebody that doesn't play a lot of games, but they like tinkering, building something new. Maybe they've been into Pokemon or something, and they like building a Pokemon deck. I don't. If they're into Pokemon, I guess they are a gamer. So this is a bad example. But I think this game, Century, I have Golem Edition, but there's Century Spice Road and a bunch of other ones, is probably the best entry point into deck building. In this game, you start with like a hand of just a few basic cards, and then you'll be playing those cards down in order to get these cool crystals that'll upgrade from, I think, yellow to green to blue to pink. And then you will trade those to get better cards. And so your deck or hand of cards is continually getting better. After you've played all of your cards, you have to take a rest turn to pick them back up. Again, I've played this with my wife's parents, and they play no games. But this one was a hit. It's just like a fun, I'm trying to make a cool deck that can convert these crystals better than you do. And I think you're all about the deck building. This is a bit.
I have enjoyed deck building. Yeah.
This is a bit light compared to some of the deck building games that you've really enjoyed, but
yeah, some of the deck building games that I've played have more of a description on the card of its power and passive abilities.
Exactly. Yep. This one is just symbols on the top left that say this card lets you turn a blue into 2 greens and a yellow. So no text or anything else, but kind of an intro into how you could make a cool combo engine with cards. So Century is really great for this one's a slight step up from some of the other like beginner card games we've talked about today, but that's a great one. All right, 2 more, Devin. I'm gonna say you've got that one friend.
Mm-hmm.
The only game he's played is Ticket to Ride.
Ooh, I was gonna say Risk. I was like almost there.
Yeah, you were getting pretty close. And that's the only game he ever wants to play. Is just Ticket to Ride all the time. That's actually pretty common, to be honest. This game's better than Ticket to Ride, in my opinion. Shorter than Ticket to Ride. It does come in a big box, so that's a little... The box is deceptive, but man, it's such a good game. So this is Caesar's Empire. In this game, you are trying to build out roads from the city of Rome here in the center of the board, and you'll be a certain color, and you'll just place one of your little like roads. They are little troop pieces, but it's basically a road. Kind of like in Ticket to Ride, you're building out the train tracks with the trains. And then after you place it, you count all the way back, or not count, but you trace that path all the way back to Rome. And everyone along that path gets a point for each section of the path. So as the paths get longer, there'll be a lot of points. And so a lot more interaction in this game with blocking, and you don't feel as bad about it. In Ticket to Ride, like if I block like your best like train path, people get very upset about that because it's kind of like game ruining in a game that took an hour or whatever. In this one, I can see you're building a big road. It's got 4 of your red pieces on it, and I stick a green one on it. Now I'm going to score as well while you're scoring yours. But I don't feel as bad because on your next turn, you're also going to block me. It's basically a game of just blocking. So because everyone's doing it, it makes it not as mean. You're also going to like these different city locations, and they will give you different goods here. And that's the only way you score is by getting sets of goods and making your paths back to Rome. Big box, and kind of has this funny asterisk, the comic book art on it, and bigger pieces than it probably needed. But if you really can play this one in 20 to 30. It says 30 to 60 on the box. I think that is definitely skewed on the longer end. I've played this a few times, and it's usually under 30. So this is definitely my replacement for Ticket to Ride. I think it's better, more fun, more interactive. And I think your one friend that only wants to play Ticket to Ride will also like this one. All right, Devin, last up. You got the person that likes head-to-head stuff. Maybe he likes... What's he like? He likes boxing. Or... What's another head-to-head thing? One-on-one.
Foosball.
Foosball. There you go. Anything one-on-one.
Ping pong.
And maybe he's also a fan of The Lord of the Rings. This game's brand new this year. It's the Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. It's a version of Seven Wonders Duel. And it's a 2-player head-to-head battle. It takes about half an hour. And it really is excellent. It's very simple to teach also. On your turn, all you can do is either take a card, and you can only take a card that doesn't have a card on top of it. So here at the beginning, it's one of those 2 cards. Or if you have enough resources, you can buy a tower. And that's all you can do on your turn. But inside that framework, there's a bit of there's a lot of depth, basically, in what cards do I take? Which areas of the board do I want to put troops in? Do I want to try and move Frodo to Mount Doom? What do I want my focus to be? This one's got a lot of buzz and hype this year, and I think it's pretty well warranted. I've never played base Seven Wonders Duel. But this one's really, really great. And the Lord of the Rings theme on top of it with the awesome artwork, I think helps a lot.
Yeah, we played this super balanced 3-win conditions.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a great game, and the aesthetic of Lord of the Rings really, just made it good.
Yeah. And it's artwork by Vincent Dutray. It's just very pretty, just really cool takes on all of those Lord of the Rings characters. So I guess maybe for the person that likes Lord of the Rings and head-to-head things, for the person that doesn't like Lord of the Rings but still likes head-to-head things, I think this is an excellent 10-minute, maybe 15-minute, 2-player card game. This is District Noir. In this one, you are playing a series of rounds, and in each round you'll have 5 cards, but do 6 actions. 5 of your actions will be to play a card down in this line of cards, and then 1 action will be to take the most recent 5 cards from that line. So you get to decide at what point in my 6 turns am I going to pick up 5 cards, and those 5 cards will go in kind of a display in front of the player. You're trying to take good cards, leave bad cards for your opponent, so it's kind of a bit of a mind game with the other person. Like, when are you going to take? And another cool thing about this game, it has an alternate win condition. If you ever get all 3 of the city cards, you immediately win. You don't even go to scoring.
That's way cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So if you had 3 cards in your hand that you really wanted to keep, you would put them at the end and then just take them back?
Yeah, or you would maybe wait for the other player to have done their take turn, because then they won't be able to take the rest of the round.
Oh, okay.
And then you'd lay down, they'd lay down, you'd lay down, get as many of them out as you can, and then you can pick them up.
I see.
So, yeah, it's really great. The game has a lot of tension, because if my opponent has 2 of those city cards, basically I cannot do my take action before them for the rest of the game. Because if they have that 3rd city card in their hand and I take before them, they'll do just what you just said. They'll place it down, and on their next turn, pick it up and immediately win. So the game state changes a lot. One of the kickers is you shuffle the deck of cards, and 3 cards are put back in the box face down. So you never know what is not in the game.
That could be a city card?
It could be a city card. And so even though there's a lot of tension when someone has 2 and you don't think you can take before them.
That's kind of fun. I like that.
It might not even be in play.
Yeah.
So it's excellent. So good. District Noir is the other game I would recommend for people that like head-to-head things. That one's kind of more of a mind game. I've played that one many times with my wife, and once we play it once, it's usually okay, let's play again. And it's only 10 minutes. And then we play again, and sometimes we played it 4 or 5 times back to back to back. It's super good. And Devin, I think that means we've gone through the whole list of big pile of games I put here. I think that is a really good set if you're trying to get someone a game for their birthday, for Christmas, or to introduce somebody into the cool, awesome world of hobby board games. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the ones mentioned here. If you do want to pick up any of them, make sure to check out the affiliate link in the description of this video. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next list here from Gaming Top Down. Thank you so much for watching this video. As most of you know, Gaming Top Down is an independent endeavor. I don't accept money from publishers for previews or opinion-related content, but there are a few ways that you can support the channel and help me keep the lights on. Liking this video and subscribing to the channel helps me to grow. If you're thinking of getting a game that I covered in this video, please click the affiliate link in the description of this video. It helps to support me and doesn't add any cost to your purchase. I also do a weekly gaming podcast where I talk about the board games that I'm playing along with my brother. You can check that out on Apple's podcasts and on Spotify. And you can also get that podcast 3 days early over on our Patreon. You can follow the Patreon at patreon.com/supergamebrothers completely for free. But if you do support us over there, you get some extra perks, like being able to write into the show, getting early access to the show, voting on the games that I'm going to cover and review, and lots of other fun stuff. Thanks so much for your support, for liking and commenting on my videos. You really are what helped keep the lights on for me. Thank you.